So on that note, moving on, we have with us, ladies and gentlemen, an esteemed speaker who really needs no introduction. Well, join me in welcoming Dr. Gulshan Rai. Ladies and gents, he was, in fact, the first National Cybersecurity Coordinator for the Office of the Prime Minister of India. He also authored India's first cybersecurity policy and served on the expert committee on data protection. Well, he's also worked to establish India's national watch and alert system as part of country's cybersecurity initiative. He is indeed iconic. Well, he's also led various international delegations, developed national policy documents, and has been the brain behind several nationwide technology missions. Well, yes, including the National Knowledge Network project. Well, let me invite Dr. Gulshan Rai to share his thoughts on the top 5 cybersecurity trends in the fintech industry. Over to you, Dr. Rai.
Mr. Vikram Lemay, the MD and CEO of the National Stock Exchange, Dr. Muralidharan, the Chairman of OJAS and the MD and CEO of NSE-IT, Naveen, the director, full-time director at the OJAS, participants, good morning to all of you. It's really a pleasure to be on the dais along with Mr. Vikram Lemay and Mr. Murli, who are well known in the financial sector and the capital markets there. They have done a fantastic job and dealing with the issues on day-to-day basis. Both are technical and financial nature on day-to-day basis there. Friends, digital transformation is a buzzword today. One of the positive outcome of the pandemic is to accelerate the digital transformation, not only in India, but worldwide. Work from home and the fintech has been adopted as a norm. I believe that such a norm will continue, whatever may be the circumstances there. It's going to stay even after pandemic subside completely, but rather it will accelerate and catalyze the entire economy. At least I can say it can be said surely for the fintech sector. As per the statistics published by NPCI, there were about 150 million active users of UPI in 2020, 50% increase on a year-to-year basis. The total number of digital payment transactions have crossed 2 billion. The debit and credit card are more than 950 million numbers. That is more than 10% increase on a year-to-year basis. More than 3 million Bharat QR are currently deployed, while on one side, financial institutions are adopting fintech solutions to embrace digital way. The malicious activities have also increased many fold there. As per the data available on the CERT website, there were 1350%, more than 1000% malicious activity during the pandemic period of the last 6 months, and the cyber crime, particularly relating to digital transformation or the digital penetration. With the increase in the financial transaction relating to UPI breach, ATM cards also were witnessed in showing a significantly upward trend. The new cybersecurity risk in such an environment as emerging, after all, is a unique characteristics of the digital sector to monetize everything from data to stolen card, password, etc. Some of the cyber threats which are being faced by the fintech companies, startups, and the users on a very regular basis include the malware attacks. Hackers design malware customized to the nature of transactions and breach the system and gather critical information. The malwares are designed looking at the UPI transactions, looking at the ATM and credit card fraud, phishing and wishing is a normal norms when we talk about the financial ATM cards are there. The next kind of issues which are being faced is the data breach. Most of the fintech player and the customer, they store data such as card details, user password, credential at all in the respective platform, website. It can be a mobile phone. That's a common practice to store the data passwords on the mobile phone, PIN number and the mobile phone. A small breach may lead to leakage of sensitive information or sensitive financial data. We often download the apps without understanding the genuineness and the security risk of that particular app. We don't know much details about the app there. And this is true particularly with the younger generation there. And every app is a norm. They take the data, whatever is stored in the system, including those PIN details, credit card number, passwords, and everything, they take it away. As I said, it's a norm to monetize the data, and that information can be leaked also time. Most of the information are available on the dark web, on dark net, which is sold. The third kind of a risk very often is a cloud environment security risk. Improper configuration of the public cloud systems and of the service provider facilities, the hackers it facilitates the hacker to gain easy access. Clouds are not what we imagine the cloud there. Everyone hosts their system or everyone take the VM from the service provider. But it passes through from my phone, my device to the cloud, it passes through several kind of interfaces. One first prominent interface is the service provider, and then the cloud, and then is a return and there. Weaknesses in the interfaces, vulnerabilities in the hardware and software, any on the path, anywhere in the path can create a problem. We often say that our information is encrypted, but mind you, the information is decrypted at every interface and then encrypted. That poses a problem depending upon the security of the system, what has been implemented. So cloud environment, though it has many advantages, but then if it is not configured properly, if it is process is not taken properly, it can create a big risk. Application security weakness, that's a third kind of a thing there. Hidden vulnerability in the application design and could attack cyber attacks. Most of the time, we don't test our application. I mean, if you look at the SME sector or a retailer, they buy the application from the source. They don't have appreciation that applications security is a must. They don't look at the tests or the security verification which the vendor has done it. They apply it. That application, when it goes to the system, that can create a vulnerability and can be a source of the breach or source of your risk what you carry. The next one is the weak security passwords, both at the service provider and the individual users. Friends, I can tell you very clearly, it may not be suitable to many, but if you are not able to secure your own system, rest assured the service provider are not going to bother about it. We all operate on a L1 basis, lowest cost basis. We try to cut corners. And the service provider and the cloud or anyone else whose system you are accessing will not be able to build the security if you are not very particular. I have seen in case of UPI, what is a transaction? For my mobile phone, it goes to service provider, it goes to the bank goes to NPCI and the root. So many interfaces are there, so many breaches have happened. One weak point at this chain, it will create a problem. And we have seen, number of cases we have seen how the systems are breached, how the information is stolen. The hackers are using the artificial intelligence and ML tool for exploiting breaches and harvesting the information which are caused by a variety of factors, some of which I have described. Hackers are becoming more sophisticated and difficult to trace. Attribution becomes very, very difficult. Today morning, itself, one of my colleagues had a problem in Kolkata. His information, it was stolen and a lot of transactions went away from it. And the case is 6 months old. The police inspector, he informed me, sir, you telephoned to about your friend. We are not able to help him. 90% of the cases are like this because we are not able to attribute, forensic things are not there, skill is not there. At the end, the data is lost, the financial losses happen there. The data relating to malicious activities gets wiped out. That's another thing. Today, the malwares are designed. If you try to catch it, they are all AI enabled, artificial intelligence enabled. If someone tries to tamper it or someone tries to check it, it wipes out and completely destroys it. We have heard in the physical system, the terrorists taking a cyanide and just killing themselves. The same thing we have seen in the area of the hardware and software and security also. Friends, with the growth in the fintech, more data is available, which is analyzed using the big data technique instantaneously. But that also makes it more susceptible to the security breaches. Some of the data include personally identified information and financial and health related information of a customer. Managing digital identities of the individual is a major challenge as organizations aim to provide an integrated omni-channel experience to user by extending host of banking, wealth management, and payment services in a seamless fashion. I don't want to disclose, but one of the famous journalist, news personality, she telephoned sometime in the morning about a year ago, and she said, a lot of things has happened and a lot of information has been stolen. She was quite terrified. When I sent someone to investigate the matter, I found that all her devices were linked with a single password. I have seen in case of a large telecom service provider, government telecom service provider, right from Kolkata to Rajahmundry to the other area to Trivandrum, all routers, big routers, backbone routers were managed by one password. Yeah, you will say, what is this password the router has to do with your fintech transactions there? Friends, the router is routes the information. Ultimately, any fintech kind of access will have to pass through the backbone and routers there. I can divert the traffic and interject the traffic there. That's all can be done in a seamless fashion there. Friends, the fintech service providers are considered to be the torch bearer in the digital financial service industry, particularly in the post-COVID world. It has the potential to bring transparency in the economy. However, cybercrime and cyber attacks are a clear hindrance to the financial technology market and digital financial transactions. Fintech firms need to build a strong cyber resilience system inside and outside their organization to weigh the risk. Ultimately, owners rest on the individual entities. The individual entities need to be very, very careful. My experience is that much more need to be done to educate the users, to educate the telecom service provider, to educate the fintech service provider. Mind you, the 200 best fintech companies in the world are developing solutions in India and marketing solutions from India. So India is a great leader when we talk about the fintech, but the security risks are also looming large on all of us. I'm sure this seminar will a good kind of a steps to create awareness among the user masses, among the telecom service provider, among the fintech service provider, and collectively we will make this sector more robust and enhance the resiliency of the entire system. If the users are sufficiently they are told about the pitfall of the security risk, what securities they can face it, and I'm sure the digital transaction or the financial transaction is the way, is the 21st century things to be there, and we will have a much better productivity and efficiency in our day-to-day operation. I thank Ojas for inviting me and in making some intervention. And I really feel thankful to Ojas also on the count that I'm sharing dice with the two great personalities. Thank you very much.
Dr. Gulshan Rai, I have to say, and I owe to you a big thank you for enlightening my audience with your expert thoughts on the subject, such a veteran that you are.